Today we got Claire. You're a sales enablement lead in North American B2B marketing for an enterprise technology company. Thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure. Good to speak with you.
So our teams have been working together for about a year now, I think, and
Yeah.
we recently ran our mystery mess game that had got some really amazing results. And we were really excited to try it. I know you were excited to try it, and I think we had high hopes. But these results are really incredible, and I'm excited to share them with the people watching. But before we dig into those numbers, can you give the people watching, some context on your role? How big is your team? How many reps do you support?
Yeah, totally. So, as you mentioned, I work for a large technology company and I support our media business segment. So, huge opportunity in the market. I support about 800 inside sales reps. So, they have to be generalists, they have to be able to sell our entire line of products, and they have a lot thrown at them at all times.
And what's your focus, the focus of your role?
So I am sales enablement. So I fall under the marketing team. And if you think of marketing as a funnel with, brand at the top, we have engagement. I am field marketing. I'm like the very tip of it. So I work very closely with sales, closest to the customer. So we are doing everything from, events to, giving them assets that they can push out to their customers, really helping them speak intelligently and confidently about our products.
And what's your favorite part? What's the best part of your job?
So sales definitely brings the energy. They are high pace. So that's always exciting. There's definitely never a dull day. Even though I like to, think strategically and long term, we're also, doing things on the fly, being a little bit reactive to what they need, what the business needs. So probably the pace.
Yeah, it's always a double-edged sword. Do you want to be a
True.
little bit too stressed out or a little too bored? You got to pick your poison, is at least in
True.
my experience. So with that fast pace, I'm sure comes some challenges. What are the biggest challenges that you and your team see, day to day?
Yeah, so kind of as I mentioned, these inside sellers really have to be generalists and they have a lot thrown at them. So getting their attention and their focus, depending on like, okay, we're down in this BU, we really need them to focus on this, focus pushing these products. So getting mind share is definitely tough. Breaking through the noise. I mean, I work at a huge company. I'm sure their inbox is bombarded with company emails, customer emails, marketing emails. So breaking through the noise is always tough too.
Getting engagement and getting alignment at any scale at all
Yes.
is really tough. And until you get into the sales enablement world, you thought B2C was hard. It's a different, totally different game because, at least you might have some interesting products or content that people want to look at on the B2C side. But so efficiency, logistics, always tough at any scale because when things take even just a minute or two, if you're doing it 800 times or 800 times a week, the time really adds up. If we've heard from some of our customers that, we've replaced the workloads of entire people, we save them like 40 hours a month. How much time do you think IncentivePilot saves your team?
So I haven't actually quantified it, but so we started working with y'all right after the pandemic hit. So pre-pandemic, we would go to the sales floor. We would be like, here's what we're pushing this week. We'd have physical gift cards. We'd have physical gifts. We'd bring them lunch. Like we could like literally feel their engagement of like them coming up and talking to us and asking us questions. Obviously the pandemic happened, we all went fully remote, and my company has no plans to return to office. So this is our new normal. And yeah, just being able to measure, are they even paying attention to us has been difficult. And then, a big part of my job is running, incentive programs. It's a great way to motivate them. It's a great way to get their focus. So as I mentioned, we were doing these physical gift cards. There was a spreadsheet with the digital gift card numbers, and we have to report all of that for tax purposes. So super, super manual process. Not fun. No one wanted to do it. Doing a contest was always like, oh, like, are we sure this is going to work? Because it's going to be a lot of time. So once we were able to work with y'all and completely digitize that, like, I swear, I'll get a request for a contest on a Thursday afternoon, and I'm like, no problem, we'll launch it Monday, easy peasy. So, yeah, it's taken a ton of the like manpower and just the spreadsheet tracking, like, yeah, hours.
Hours and hours. That's great to hear. And that's why IncentivePilot exists. Contests are fun, engagement
Yeah,
is fun, and fostering like genuine alignment in an organization is fun. It's supposed to be fun. And what we found working with, enterprise folks is that it wasn't fun. It sucked.
totally.
And if it sucks, no one does it. And so, we wanted to build the tools that made it easy so you could focus on creativity, innovation, and, making a space for something even in an enterprise culture that is fun and brings people together and slices away at some of that grind because like you said it's fast paced and the expectations are high for everyone, and so if you can give people a little bit of a human moment then works better, and that's why we're here. So it's so fun to hear that now it's fun again. That's why we did it.
Yeah, and I can speak personally, like it is spread like wildfire at my organization. So marketing was kind of the first team to really like use this tool. And since then, like product marketing use it, field marketing use it, all of our like stakeholders are using it. So having everyone using one tool and consolidating all of the contests into one view for the reps, it's a win-win for the reps because they know everything they're eligible for, all of their money is in one bank account for them to manage. And then from an admin side, it's super easy to turn on. It's super easy to communicate with them. So yeah, it's been a great win for the whole org.
Yeah, and they get to get the prizes they want. You don't have to guess what they want anymore. They can choose
Yes,
whatever they want, with their contest winnings. So, speaking of
totally.
contests, speaking of fun, why don't you tell us a little bit about the mystery mess game we ran for your team?
Yeah. So as you mentioned, we've been working with y'all for a year and contests were going great. And then when you guys shared these new gamification, ideas and pilots, we were like, yeah, let's do it. So Mystery Mess is the first one that we've run. It's basically Clue. So who made the mess, with what, in what room. It actually worked perfect with, we have a big promo period in July. So it was kind of like a barbecue themed. And we basically used the Mystery Mess game to help drive revenue run rate with our reps. So in medium business, it's very transactional. It's a high velocity business. And during these, big promotional periods, we are really pushing the reps, like sell these products that are on discount right now. Like, so the way we structured it was a 3-week promo burst period. And if a rep hit their revenue run rate goal that week, they would receive a clue. And if they hit it all 3 weeks, they received 3 clues. And then they could guess, like the clue game, who made the mess with what in what room. And it wasn't like everyone's a winner. So if they, got all 3 clues and hit all their goals, I think we set it at about a 25% chance that they would guess correctly. And that would earn them a $100 gift card. But if they just hit their goals all 3 weeks and were engaged in the game, they guessed, they played along, we still gave them a $50 gift card. So yeah, huge success. We got great feedback from the floor. They loved the game. And yeah, it was just a good way to mix it up.
So you talked a little bit about not engaged reps and engaged reps. How many reps are we talking about? Was this to 800 people, 1,000 people?
Yep, these are about 800 inside sellers.
Okay. And what was the difference in revenue over those 3 weeks between the unengaged reps and the engaged reps?
So of the 800 reps, we had 63% engaging in the game, which means they, went to the landing page, clicked around on the missions, made a guess of some type. So the reps that didn't engage at all in the game averaged about 50K in run rate revenue each week. Reps that were, semi-engaged in the game, which means they, came to it 10 times or less over the 3-week period. They had about 70K average in weekly revenue. And then the reps that were highly engaged, they came back 10 times or more. They guessed who, made the final guess of who did the mess. they had 92K in reps. So, excuse me, in revenue. So that was almost like what, a 60% increase?
It's more than that. It's almost double.
It's
So
double.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
83% between the
83%.
people who didn't engage versus engaged heavily in the game. And,
Okay.
you know, it's amazing because that's a huge gap. I don't know if you usually see that gap between your high performers in the middle of the pack.
No, and like to be honest, like, doing a game like this and really like drilling down to the numbers and measuring it week over week, like it is like I don't know if we've ever done anything like this. So it actually was a good exercise for us to be like, oh, like look at the difference between a rep that's engaged in something and not engaged in something in these, marketing promos that we really, want to push. But yeah, like this was the first time we really dug into the numbers, and it was an interesting story for sure.
And you said 63% of users engage. Is that, how does that compare to other contests and promotions or initiatives you guys have?
So it's hard to say because I mean, like if I look at last year, which was before we were really like heavily using those tool, we didn't even do a contest. So can't really compare it to last year in that way. We do run quarterly missions with the tool, and we are measuring engagement for sure, but at the end of the day, if we're running a mission and a rep hits the goal of the mission, we'll reward them whether or not they're engaged in the tool, just because that's kind of what we think is the right thing to do. But this was the first time that we ran a contest where if they weren't engaged in the game, too bad, so sad. Like they're not going to get a gift card or a reward. So it's hard to quantify, but I mean, 63% regardless, like that's just a great stat.
At an enterprise company, that's a lot. When we first
Okay.
started working with enterprise companies, one of our first programs about 5 years ago, it had like 20% engagement, and that was my first exposure to a team, of your scale. And I put my head in my hands. I was like, "Oh no! Like this was a great opportunity, and somehow we just didn't get the engagement we needed." We hopped on the phone with the manager. I was expecting kind of a letdown of a call, and she was like, "Oh my God, we got 20%. We've never had this much engagement before. You guys are incredible, blah, blah, blah." And, that kind of shifted my whole view. And that's when we originally saw some opportunity here because it's like, there's just a lot of opportunity to make the work experience a lot more fun at enterprise
Really.
companies. And, the engagement is low. So 63% is incredible. And what I love about the 63% number is that you're always going to have your top performers, the middle of the pack, and your C players that you're trying to drag along. And
Really.
63% is a nice slice of the middle of the pack because
Mhm.
what a lot of people do is they'll run a very simple incentive program or contest where, hey, if you're in the top five, you get $1,000. And guess who gets the $1,000 every time? The best five
Same
people.
people. Yep.
So it doesn't really help. You're really just adding tiny bits of improvement to your people who are already performing at the top of the heap. If you can move like a significant chunk of that middle of the pack to a higher percentage of earnings, like in this example, $25,000 more revenue per rep, then you're really moving the needle and seeing these significant things and getting these numbers like 83% more revenue. It's crazy. So, in
It
terms
adds
of,
up too.
I'm sorry.
It adds up.
Oh, yes, it
Over
adds
800
up.
reps. Yes,
Do
it
you know
adds
what
up to
the total
20%.
was in additional revenue over the course of the 3 weeks?
So it works out to be, sorry, I've got my 69 million difference between engaged and non-engaged reps.
So 69 million bucks in 3 weeks.
Yes.
That feels pretty good.
Yeah, yeah, we're happy with that.
I'm glad you're happy with that. We're really happy with that too. To give everyone a little bit more context, I know our team worked with you just a couple hours to get this rolling. How long did it take you guys to put together, the goals, the KPIs, and get things rolling on your end?
I mean, not a ton of time. We, were able to set the goals for what the weekly run rate target should be. And, we based that off of kind of historical numbers. So that was, pretty easy. yeah, I mean, other than that, once, we decided we were going to run this game, like I said, it's easy to turn on. All of our reps are onboarded on the tool. They know IncentivePilot. They're used to getting y'all's emails weekly. So, I mean, maybe it was 6 hours total of calls, doing a little bit of internal, figuring out some numbers and launching.
That's amazing. So a handful of hours, and 3 weeks later, you have this difference to take as your results. Pretty incredible. And I think, running a rough number on that, 69 million, you guys came out at over 300x return on investment, which is just insane. Usually we get customers and they're like, if we can get a 2x, we'll be over the moon, and we're just dealing in a whole new world of territory. And that's about effective engagement and producing things that people want to use, not things that you're trying to shove down their throats. And
Yes.
we attribute the success of this and some of our other gamified experiences to the fact that you're getting reminders, but you're not getting reminders as an annoyance. You're getting reminders in the context of something you want to look at. So I achieved my goals. I want to go see the clues. Well, guess what? I'm getting eyeballs on the KPIs and a little reminder to foster that alignment. Because like you said, your reps are generalists. They're getting, it's hard to stay focused, and there's a lot of noise. So any way you can cut through that noise and foster a little bit more focus is going to help you achieve results that, I mean, if they were, 1/100th is good, you guys would still be getting a 3x ROI, which is crazy for any incentive program.
Yeah, and we've definitely learned that sales loves games and they love cash. So yeah, it was a huge success.
It's interesting you say that, and it is pretty universal. Teams are different culturally, but sales in general, they love those things, and they love competition. And all of these things are just gamification mechanics that you can add. If you're always just using money, it gets boring. If you're always just using a contest, it's boring. You have to, okay, this time it's teams, and this time it's a game, and this time, and layering these dynamics in different ways is the secret sauce to creating something that's fresh and fun and engaging over and over and over again.
Yep,
So.
y'all nailed it.
It was a ton of fun working with you guys on this and helping you prove the return on investment with people remote. I know that's been a huge pain point since you guys have gone remote, and I look forward to figuring out how we can continue to save you guys time, continue to drive these engaging contests, but also prove that ROI and get more stories like this, have you back on and share more exciting stuff. But we couldn't do this without you, Claire. You're, one of the favorite people to work with, and your team is amazing. And we look to you and ask you questions about this industry because we're coming from an outside perspective. What advice do you give to other sales enablement leaders or internal marketing leaders? Kind of what, yeah, what makes you tick, or what do you think is something that most folks in your position are missing?
Well, honestly, like you just nailed it of like keeping it fresh. Like, gosh, like it is these reps, their attention span is so short. And if it's not quick and easy, they're like on to the next. So, I mean, we are constantly, ideating on how do we, like I said, break through the noise and get their mind share. So like y'all's tool has been huge in us being able to do that, especially at scale. I think, being sales enablement, like it's putting yourself in the shoes of a seller. Like I understand like how tough their job is, and they do have all these competing demands, and I'm really here to help make their lives easier. So that's how I always approach it. And if I can make someone's day by giving them a $25 gift card or give them a break from a hectic day to like play a quick game, and it's a win-win for everyone. So yeah, I think it's a cool job, and it's creative, but it's also I've got to be like analytical and think strategically. So yeah, that's kind of my 2 cents.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for coming on and sharing the story of $69 million in 3 weeks.
Absolutely. I think we're gonna do poker next with y'all, so we'll have to come back and chat about that.
I really look forward to it.
Yes, got high hopes.
Have a good one.
Thanks, Andrew. Mhm.